Hi, I'm Kanisha. Welcome to my channel. I'm here to talk about Sense8 Season 1, Episode 3. I'm not really sure how to talk about the show in its early stages because all of the stories are so fractured right now. So the best solution that I could come up with, just go character by character and talk about what's happening with them. So for this episode, I want to start with Lito. I do want to say off the bat that I really enjoy watching Lito and Hernando's scenes together and their relationship. I think it's written well, and I think the performance is actually very good. So I hope we get to see more of them, and I hope that whenever the show picks up on the limbic resonance and we get more into the Sense8 stuff and why they're connected, all of that stuff. When that part of the show picks up, I hope we don't leave Hernando behind and the other people that are important to our Sense8s. So I hope they stick around for the entire show, and I don't want to leave the two in their relationship behind, but I really enjoyed seeing them together. And then we get into an awkward conversation that Lito has with Daniela and Hernando. And on the one hand, I think it's good of the two of them to allow Daniela to stay with them for a few days. The problem, I think, is that, she asks to stay there until things cool down. But I don't think things are ever going to cool down with Joaquin. So I could oversee, I could see a situation where Daniela might end up overstaying her welcome just to try and get away from Joaquin. But everything about that is very concerning, as you can imagine. But we see Joaquin meet Lito and have lunch, and clearly Joaquin is not a sane person, and Daniela, of course, doesn't feel comfortable just talking to him about how she feels about him. So I mean, it's easy to see that she would be uncomfortable with him, and I just the waiting till things cool down I don't think is ever gonna happen. So I don't know how, I'm looking forward to seeing how this is gonna resolve. I can't imagine that Joaquin is just gonna step away from pursuing Daniela. He seems obsessed with her, and I guess he's just that kind of person. I did wonder, could this situation be helped if Joaquin knew about Hernando? Maybe Joaquin wouldn't be so aggressive with Lito if he knew that Lito wasn't really into Daniela. But then I thought, Joaquin's a crazy person, so I don't think he would be reasonable about it. So if Joaquin knew that Lito was with, Daniela and someone else at the same time, I don't think that would work out well. So that's probably a bad idea, and I hope that it doesn't accidentally come out that Joaquin, I hope Joaquin doesn't accidentally figure it out, that Daniela and Lito are pretending to be together, because all of that could end horribly. So yeah, that's a terrible situation to be in, and I don't know what's next with that story. So I'm looking forward to see what is gonna happen, and are the Sense8s somehow gonna help? It could be that Lito and his connection with all the other Sense8s could protect him in case Joaquin, attacks. Like we saw with Will and Capheus and Sun. So maybe something like that could happen. I don't know, but yeah, it's like I want to see what happens, and I also don't want to see, because I don't think there's any way that situation ends like on good terms. So I'm curious and also afraid. So next, let's talk about Capheus, and I hope I'm saying his name right. I can't, like, I watched the episode a while ago, but I hope I'm saying it right. But we see that his mom is sick and unable to get the real medication. And as I was watching, I did wonder if his situation with his mom had anything to do with Kala. When she walked into work, there was like a, I don't know, seminar or whatever, conference, I guess, whatever. There was something going on where Kala was walking in and someone was giving a speech about fake drugs. So I don't know if maybe I'm connecting dots that aren't related at all, but I had the thought, so maybe it's something is probably not. But I just had the thought. But back to Capheus. So his mom isn't getting the real medication, and he's able to obtain it thanks to his friend. And it was really awesome to see him step up and, fight back against the thieves. The whole way, the way that scene was shot, I think was awesome, to have like the car chase, and it's action packed, and there's fighting, and it's intercut with Sun. So all of that was awesome. I really enjoyed it. That was probably my favorite part of the episode, to see all of that happening. And I really hope that this helps his business, because he went to that bad part of town because business was slow, and they got burned. And I'm sure he felt some guilt about making that decision to go there in the first place. Of course, knowing, that it was dangerous. So I'm glad that he, in a way, was able to make up for it, and he got his stuff back. Auntie in the back, she got her ring back, I hope. I don't remember if we actually saw them grabbing their things, but I hope they got it all back. And I hope that everyone who was able to witness Capheus kick everyone's ass, I hope they feel safe, or like they feel like more likely to ride with him, knowing that maybe he could, beat up the thieves if they ever try to run up on his van again. So hopefully it'll be good for business. And I hope that he's able to continue to get the medicine his mom needs, because it seemed like a huge ordeal to get that medication from Mr. Fuck Off. So I hope everything starts going a lot better for him, and I'm glad to see him. Okay, here's the thing. Was it really Capheus that was fighting those guys, or was it we see Sun fighting them? But I still don't know how still don't know how it works. So maybe it was him, maybe it wasn't. They don't switch bodies, I don't think. And I don't know if it's a situation where you're just two minds sharing the same body. Are we ever gonna get any definitive explanation about how the Sense8 stuff works? I hope so. But then again, maybe it doesn't matter how it works. But I would like an answer, and I like how they shoot it. Like, I like that we know that Sun is there and she is in control, I guess, of the situation, or in control of the environment. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I just had that thought, and I'm very curious about how it works. But I do love how they shoot it, with Sun being there in Nairobi and beating up everyone. But yeah, was it Capheus? I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing, like, getting more explanations about how all this stuff works. So I just mentioned Sun, so let's talk about what happened with her this episode. We see that she keeps getting phone calls from the bank executive, and I can only assume that something suspicious is going on with her company. I think it was this episode where, I guess, Sun's assistant came in and was like, answer Mr. Jong's phone calls or I'll go to the authorities. Okay, so something bad is going on with the company, and I assume it has to do with finances. I feel like the most important part of Sun's story right now is what's happening with her company, or her father's company. She goes into the locker and pulls out this red folder, and I really liked how it was shot, where it was Sun intercut with Will looking at some documents too. The thing that sort of confuses me, and it just makes me wonder, like, what is happening when we see that intercut happening with Will and Sun. We know exactly what Will is looking at. He's clearly looking at documents related to Sarah Petrell and the investigation. But with Sun, it was never clear to me what she was looking at. I think one of the pages had like a bunch of numbers on it, so I assume it has to do with bank statements or inventory or some kind of financial data. So, but it's not clear, and I wish it was clear. And I mean, probably going to find out later, and the reveal will probably be much better than revealing it, in this episode. But it seems like Sun is she's upset about, I guess, whatever is happening with the documents, or whatever the documents are telling her, because she, asks to speak to her father and gets pissed off when he's not available. So there's probably some kind of suspicious activity that is revealed in those documents. But yeah, she's stressed out, and it's awesome that she's in some kind of underground fight club. I love seeing that. I love learning that about her. I think it's interesting because in the first episode, when we meet her, after Angelica was talking to Jonas, and she was, I guess, looking at all of the 8 Sense8s, and we see Sun, and she is like on some stairs, and it looks like she's doing some kind of, I don't know if it's martial arts or yoga or what, but they seemed like calming movements. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she wasn't kickboxing, obviously, but in that first episode, it looked like an exercise to calm down. And then, of course, we see in this episode she is not calm and needs to take out, I guess, her frustration somehow. So I thought it was interesting that, okay, back then we could get one type of impression of her, but in this episode, okay, maybe she's like multifaceted, or like there's multiple sides to her. And that's just something that we can learn from these first 3 episodes. But I thought it was interesting. I just thought it was an interesting decision in that first episode to have her do those movements in that first episode. And now we learn that she is tougher, I guess, to say the least. But overall, I do like seeing that side of her and seeing that she is capable. And of course, it was vital in this episode, especially for Capheus. So next, I want to talk about Will. And I'm happy to see that he is doing all right after ramming his car into Jonas's car. So good to know that he's doing better. I do think it's interesting that Will was not held against his will when the nurse, or I'm assuming the nurse, when she comes in and she tells him that he has some unusual brain activity. And yet, with Nomi, of course, she is getting forced to do some kind of emergency surgery. I suppose a major difference would be Nomi did faint during the parade. So that's obviously a bad sign. But Will was in a car accident, so I guess that's a major difference between those 2 situations. So I just thought it was interesting. I wanted to point it out. So Will wakes up in the hospital after having a horrific dream. I have to assume that it has something to do with Sarah. And I'm wondering if, I assume that Will knew Sarah when they were kids. And I think that maybe they were in the same neighborhood, or maybe they went to school together. And I just assumed that they were friends, and maybe they played together. So I'm wondering if Will saw Sarah be taken, or at the time that it happened, I think maybe Will just saw what went down, and maybe he saw something bad happen to her, and it, the trauma just made him forget. I don't understand why Will is so dead set on finding out what happened to her. The only reasons I can think of is that he knew her when they were kids, and maybe he saw something, and being a kid, maybe you don't think there's anything wrong happening, or maybe you don't think there's any kind of danger. So I wonder if he's just forgotten something bad that he saw, and is going through the records for the investigation and is trying to put the pieces back together. I don't know why he's so involved in this. And I think he said to his dad that he thought whatever was happening with him had something to do with Sarah. I don't think that's true, but I also wonder, could it be? I don't know. It's just, with this kind of show, and I'm so early into this journey, I have no idea what's possible. I don't know what the limits are. I don't know what stories are going to matter and not matter. So the Sarah Petrel stuff, feels very important, because she has been mentioned or shown in every episode. There's only 3, but it's been in every episode. So it makes me think that this Sarah Petrel thing is bigger than some of the other things happening with the other characters. And that makes me wonder, okay, maybe this is going to be heavily related to the Sense8 and Angelica and Jonas. So maybe he is onto something. I don't know. I have no idea how this is going to work out. I'm glad to see that there's someone finally asking questions and trying to figure out what is happening with them, and seems like Will is going to be the first. So Will runs into that agent guy and wanted to talk to Jonas, and I'm happy to see that there's some initiative, because Will has been through some crazy stuff, and I wonder when the Senseis are actually going to try and figure out what is happening with them. The only Senseis that have actually talked to each other were Will and Riley. They spent quite a bit of time together. And then we had Sun and Capheus, but they didn't really have a conversation. So that doesn't really count to me as far as like two of them like trying to figure out what's happening. So, but I just want to get to like the meat of the story. We have a lot of introduction and setup, and so far I feel like these first 3 episodes we've just been following these 8 characters, and we're learning about their current lives. And I think eventually, like, that's all gonna get turned upside down when Jonas and the old guy from episode 1, I guess, are gonna try and hunt them down, and then I guess things are gonna get crazy. I'm just really looking forward to seeing the moment where the Senseis like come together or try to figure out what is happening with them. And I think Jonas is the key in it. I like that Will wants to talk to him. Jonas gave him a lot of information in the like convenience store. Well, not a lot of information, but gave him some information in the convenience store. Now I'm still wondering, like, who is gonna help Nomi? Jonas wanted Will to do it. I don't see that happening at all. I don't know if that's possible, but the thing that I'm worried about actually is because Jonas is in custody, I assume that the people who are after Jonas know about his ability, and I suspect that the old guy that was after Angelica in episode 1, I assume, well, not assume, but I wouldn't be surprised if that guy was a government official of some kind and is pulling strings to capture Jonas. So I'm worried about the fact that Jonas is in custody, and maybe they know about the Sense8, or they know about the Sense8 and know that Jonas has this like superpower basically, and maybe he won't be able to contact anyone else to, I don't know, guide them. Like, the Senseis have a superpower. They don't know how to use it. They don't know how it works. They don't know that people are after them. So who is going to be a mentor to help them, to protect them, if Jonas is like been arrested or something? And I know Angelica in the first episode asked Jonas to do it, but are we going to get someone else who is going to be able to contact the Sense8s and speak to them. I don't know. That's probably the thing I'm most excited about seeing. Like, because Jonas is detained, is he gonna escape somehow? Like, what's gonna happen to Jonas, and therefore, like, how are the 8 Sense8s gonna get any help about their situations and their weird experiences? I hope we get to see what is happening with Jonas in the next episode. Because, I mean, it might give a hint as to, like, is it possible for him to get away and help out the Sense8s? So, I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I just really want, like, I can't wait to get to the point where the Sense8s are trying to figure out what is happening to them. But I do hope that there's going to be somebody who can actually have, like, somebody that has answers and can help them. Maybe there's some rogue person who either used to work with the old guy from episode 1, or maybe there's like a mole in the organization. I don't know, but I hope they get help. They don't know that they need it right now, but I hope there's gonna be someone that can help them when the time comes. And I'm really looking forward to seeing who that person is, if it's not gonna be Jonas. So, yeah. I hope that happens this season. I'm pretty sure there are 2 seasons. I think so, but that's gotta happen before the season 1 finale. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. The last thing I want to talk about before I wrap up this video, we see that Capheus is like having dinner with his friend or business partner, and he tells him that he wishes he was a zebra when he was a kid. So, question for you. If you had the limbic resonance power, what animal would you want to share that power with? For me, I wouldn't hate, like, being connected with a hummingbird, actually. Of course, you can fly. That's a big reason. But also, hummingbirds are very agile in the air. They can fly, like, they can hover, they can fly backwards, they can fly upside down. I just think it would be cool to experience that type of control while flying. So that's my animal. What animal would you choose? Let me know in the comments. And that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, I want to give you a gift as thanks for watching. You can get early access to watch my next video. You won't have to wait a week to see my thoughts on the next episode. Just click the link in the description to get access now. I'll see you there.